Hi, my name's Chris Parry. I'm with EQUITY.GURU. This is our 3-minute hit for today. And the company that I'm talking about today is Brascan Resources, Brascan Resources. BRAS is the ticker symbol. And what's the 2-word headline for this one? I'd say crazy variety. Yeah, a crazy variety sums it up in the 2 words. The longer explanation is we got 5 projects, 1 company worth less than $1.5 million. 1 person that is at the helm of this company who is admittedly one of the crazier dudes that I've ever encountered in mining. Now, that's not a negative necessarily, because we've seen crazy before. And sometimes what you need in order to change an industry is somebody who says, it's always been done this way, and everybody that I'm looking at is buttoned down and suit and tie. I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to do it my way, off to the side here in a different way. Now, if I think back 5 years ago to one of the better deals that I was ever involved with, it was a lithium deal, a spod deal out in the prairies that I bought in at 5 cents, started writing about when it was at 10 cents. It got up to 50, 60, 75, 80 cents before I said, all right, you know what, man, now we've got ahead of our skis. It's too much. Let's start selling out. And everybody that was reading our website made money. The company made money and still alive. So good result for everybody. But what made me get into it in the first place was that it was worth almost zero. This is a $300,000 market cap with one 75-year-old dude at the helm who has got a long career of ups and downs, flame outs and booms, and said, this is the one. This is the legacy for me. I'm going to do this one, and then I'm tapping out. And I'm going to do it my way. And if it comes across as crazy to others, that's on them. Well, you know what happened there? People started paying attention. People pay attention to the crazy. You don't want bonkers crazy. You don't want like crackhead crazy. You don't want yelling at the SkyTrain crazy. What you want is people who are calculated crazy, right? I look at Dev Randhawa, CEO of Fission Uranium and all of its many spin-offs. Dev is a nutbar, a certifiable, and he can sue me if he wants, because I think I've got the evidence to prove it, nutbar. He's surrounded by guys that follow him, his every word, his every move, and either apologize, explain, or try to tell you that you didn't heard what you think you heard. He's turned that into a billion-dollar operation out there, many, many spin-offs, and an audience of people that will follow him into the breach, knowing that he's nuts, but also knowing that his form of nuts translates into business. Now, a lot of people would look at Dev and say, I don't want to invest in that. That's fine. You can go for the suit and tie guys. But if you don't want to go the traditional route, those crazies are also known as innovators. And when I talk to Balbir Johal at Brascan Resources, the innovator version of crazy is what I get from him. Dude has answers to every question you want to put to him. Answers and stories and a history. I mean, this is a guy that I said in my bio of him last week, which is the most Hunter S. Thompson thing I've ever written, that I think his 1970s disco waistcoat that he wears probably still has some cocaine from back in those days hidden in the seams. He didn't blink at that description of his style. In fact, he loved it. So, this is a guy who doesn't want to be like everybody else. He's not going to be like everybody else. He's never been like everybody else, and it's worked for him. And so here he is now. He's come into possession of a gold project in Brazil. He's got experience in Brazil. He's got guys working with him that have got experience in Brazil. What does he want? Nothing to do with gold. He's going to spin that thing out because lithium exists. And the lithium properties that he's got, one in Quebec, one in Brazil, are tasty in and of themselves. There's another one out there in the Maritimes that is an aggregates play that has a whole bunch of rare earths attached to it. And there's another rare earth one beyond that. So 5 properties, any one of which can turn into something good, all of which are near to something good that is already more advanced. Balbir is the nut bar of the week. And when I say that, I say it with all love, because there should be more nut bars out there. You've all been to an investor conference, or if you've been to an investor conference, you've all seen the guys with the suits and the ties and the horn rims that they sit down and they cross their leg and they talk about, well, the macroeconomic this and the microeconomic that. And then occasionally in comes a nut bar and just says what he feels. And that's Bal. That's also me, incidentally. Like when I do those investor conferences, I do keynotes with titles like 5 of you guys are going to be dead by this time next year, so we better get some kids in the room. Or everybody out there on the floor is lying to you, here's how. Or, hey motherfuckers, have you ever heard of Minecraft? When you're sitting there thinking that teenagers aren't into mining, you might want to realize that they're literally mining on their Xboxes. But I digress. Brascan Resources is worth about $1.4 million market cap. It is tiny. It is the size of an Abbotsford 2-bedroom condo. And if you've ever been to Abbotsford, you know. So why would I invest in this thing? Well, one, the small guys allow you to be the bully at the table. Like, I've bought into this company at the tune of about 5% of the company. I've invested in this company because I believe in the properties, and I think Bal just needs a little nudge to get things over the line. I've also invested because it makes me the big boy at the table. If I go and invest in Goldcorp, I can put $1 million down. No one knows who the fuck I am. But if I go find myself a little player, a little $1.5 million market cap player, and I drop 100 grand into it, now I'm almost to the point where I got to start reporting. I'm almost to the point where I'm an insider, or where I can demand a spot at the boardroom table. Now that might not mean anything to most people, but when you've got enough stock that you can start buying and selling and having a meaningful impact on the share price, it's an extra tool that you have at your disposal, right? You now become somebody who can move the market a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that you do so in a way that was unethical or against the regulations. I'm saying that when you decide to buy, the stock goes from 3 cents to 4 cents. When you decide to sell, it goes the same way, right? You've got a lot more pull in this operation. Now, do you want to be a small investor, one of 100,000 in a large company where every buy and sell that you make does nothing? Or do you want to be one of a dozen investors where every time you buy and sell, the CEO picks up the phone and says, "What can I do for you, sir?" I prefer that. And not for nothing, but when a 3.5 cent stock moves to 4 cents and then 4.5 cents the next day, I'm kind of intrigued. There's money to be made on those small companies. Look, if your stock is $3.50 and someone buys it and it goes to $3.52, cool, you're up 0 point something percent. If your stock is at 3 cents and it moves to 3.5, well, that's a 16% jump. If it moves to 4 cents, that's another 14% jump. It means every tick is a big move. This is why I love the little guys. I love the sub 5 cent guys. Now, you run the risk that you might get stuck in that stock. You run the risk that it might be hard to get out. But you also have the advantage that when you buy in, the market moves. So if you have the courage of your convictions, if you actually believe that this is a good deal, if you look at the technicals and you say this is worth a lot more than the current market cap, this is the perfect situation for me. I dig it. Balbir is, again, a nut bar. We'll go into that in greater detail, but for the purposes of about 3-minute hit, I just wanted to explain to you that nutty is healthy. Nutty is innovation. Everyone out there who is a tech god, who has a reputation as an innovator, has done something that everyone else thought was not doable. That going against conventional wisdom has been the most beneficial thing that I've ever done with my company, and the most beneficial investments I've ever made have been rooted in that Moneyball thinking of going against what everyone else has done, finding your own path, finding riches in the niches, getting a big piece of a little thing that's run the right way. I can't tell you how many times that's worked for me. It's the formula that never fails. And that's what we're doing with Brascan Resources right now. I own 5% of the thing. I'm still buying. I think anywhere up to 6 cents, it's an absolute gimme. And I'll still be in the market while that's happening. Once you get over 6, then I want to see some movement on some of these properties. If you get near 10, then you want to see some real movement, some drilling happening on something to really get this thing kicked off. But that's, to me, the anticipation. I don't want to be in for 3 cents and out for 3.5. I want to be in for 3 cents, and I want to be looking at adding digits.